Well, then you're going to be.
Okay. Every single time I do this, and I mean every single time I play a clip, like it stops almost at the very end. The clip loses sound, then it starts the whole clip over, keeping me muted for the entirety of it. So I have to physically unmute myself in order to be able to speak to you while that clip is going on my screen. I don't know why the website does this to me on this computer as opposed to my old one, but that happens every single time I do the intro. Every single time. But anyways, hello there. Welcome to the Force Collective. We're back, and we are talking about Andor. The next 3 episodes from the last 3, because we're doing things in threes now, apparently. So Chrono should be in eventually, so we'll have a full crew in a little while. But instead of waiting, though, sorry, Chrono. Instead of waiting, we're going to go ahead and get started. See, as of right now, and this is the weird thing for this kind of stream, but as of right now, I'm the only one that's watched all 3 of the next episodes. So this is gonna be fun. I got a couple slackers here. Sorry, away.
What?
I was just wanting to see what you would huh?
They should make it more exciting.
Well, I will admit it's been a little bit slow. It really has been a little bit slow.
That's a stream-worthy discussion in and of itself. The fact that this shows producing slackers.
Well, that may be true. But the thing about this is, oh, by the way, he likes it. It is going slow. It really is going slow. And I mean, this latest episode, for both of you who haven't watched it, was actually really good. I did like this last episode that just showed. It was a really good one. For what we've gotten so far, it's not a slow episode at all. It's very much almost action throughout. So if you're looking for it to sort of like amp up, it's good. Now, I don't know
so if it's always the episode. It's always the episode that I stop just before that it's meant to be
right?
explosive, and it's just.
I know, right? Why do you do this, Sir Away? You got to learn that.
Why do they do this?
Look, they're going to do what they do. What you need to do is always watch every 3rd episode, because apparently every 3rd one is the one that really amps up. So, anyways, so to discuss this, we will have to discuss spoilers. So I don't know how you guys are going to feel about this.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to spoil everything for you. Well, I'm not going to do it just yet. We're going to get to that. But where have you guys gotten to? I think you said you hadn't watched any of the latest 3 episodes, Commander Tano. But what about you, Sorayaway? Where did you literally just stop on the 5th episode and not watch the 6th one?
I believe so. It's the one where they were setting up.
Well, they spent 2 episodes setting up.
Cool. Then it was the 2nd episode that they was. They were at the camp. It was the night before type situation.
Okay, the night before. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so we'll just go ahead and jump right into those 2 episodes in particular, and then we'll get to the 6th one, which I guess will be me getting into it rather than you 2, but that's okay. We're not watching it to stream or anything, I'm mean. I'm sorry. Anyways, so Soraya White. What did you think of that episode? I'm going to let you start. Or those two. Let me put it like that. What did you think of those two episodes in particular? Besides that, they're slow.
Frankly, I found my cats more engaging than the two episodes.
Well, isn't there like a particular character or so that you enjoyed or anything like that?
No,
Really? That's sad.
no.
That is sad.
And about the only thing that I can sort of say is that I did finally figure out why I'm having such a problem with Andor.
Oh, really?
And the thing is that with pretty much all Star Wars content, I kind of sort of have in the back of my mind, what would I be doing in that scene or something like that?
You're
You know,
putting yourself in that scene.
but yeah. What would I be doing? Or if I was that character, what would I be doing? Even Obi-Wan Kenobi, which everyone knows what I think about that show.
Yeah, of course.
Absolute garbage from beginning to end. Even I'm sort of, oh, what would I be doing in that scene? Or yada, yada, yada. So even bad Star Wars has that feeling of, what would I be doing if I was there? I don't get any of that in Andor.
Oh, really?
Just not one skerrick of, yeah, what would I do? Or, I would love to be there. Or, why can't I be also marching? Or, practicing the heist. I just don't get that in Andor.
Well,
And
oh, go ahead.
and I think that's sort of, for me, why I'm sort of not getting into it. It's lost that essence that, for me, Star Wars had.
So you're
And
just saying
then
it don't feel like a Star Wars show at this point. Is that what you're saying?
no, it even after episode 3, which was meant to be a bit more sort of Star Warsy. No, it really feels sort of like an off-brand Star Wars show. And I'm not even talking about sort of the Netflix Marvel show off-brand type of situation. Like I said last stream, this feels like watching a DC show in a Marvel context.
Oh, I get that.
It very much feels like I'm watching Star Wars done by the BBC, and it's and it's and it doesn't feel like it's attached to the rest of the Star Wars universe. And I think the main problem is that Andor, I don't know about everyone else, but Andor especially feels to me like a story fitting into the setting rather. Hang on. No, sorry. A story finding a setting rather than finding a story in the setting.
Oh, I get that. I understand what you mean by that.
Because the thing is, and the perfect example of that is anything to do with Mon Mothma.
Oh, really?
It feels like the Mon Mothma storyline feels like some American political show that's been shoved into Star Wars clothing.
Hmm.
You know,
I yeah, I could see
it
that
feels
honestly.
it feels like an episode of. I'm trying to think of one of the shows. Um, the female president. No, hang on. Was that the show's name? I can't remember.
If it is, I haven't watched it.
It just one of those shows that um has
It's just
a
like a political drama type feel. That's what you're trying to say.
yeah, and it doesn't feel like it's a political story um found in Star Wars. Do you understand what I'm sort of saying?
No, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Actually, the way I feel about the Mon Mothma stuff is slightly like I don't see her character and her life going the way that they are portraying it, with like a jerk for a husband and a jerk for a daughter.
Yeah,
You
and
you
hence
talk
why
about
it
the
sort of
daughter
has
until
that
the next
feel.
episode, right?
Hence why it has that feel of American political show in a Star Wars setting.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is that it's just sort of like every female-led American political show has it's either um, an uninvolved husband or like a progressive husband, and the the well, no, I mean, yeah, the husband's
Yeah.
either an ass, well, not an asshole, but sort of uninvolved, and or
Right.
you go, girl. I'm gonna get on with my own life. You go get them, and oh, what you need me at this hotel conference center at 6 p.m. I'll be there. Um, and the daughter is generally wishes that the mother wasn't whatever position she was. Um, so it feels like I've kind of seen this before. It just happens to have Star Wars clothing instead of American, even though even in its Star Wars clothing, it's American. Uh, um, and it makes it feel sort of like really out of place. And Andor's story doesn't really do that much better either. Um, it very much feels um, I don't quite get I haven't quite figured out what sort of I can't exactly place Andor's story right now. But it kind of has the same feeling as the Mon Mothma storyline. None of it feels like it would be found in Star Wars.
I think that's sort of the point of this show, though, to feel different than what
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
gotten
yeah.
as
But I mean, the
Star
thing
Wars.
is okay, hang on. Perfect example is telling the story about John the Cleaner. John the Cleaner works at some superstore on uh, Corellia. Um, and he
I know
wakes up
that.
in the morning. and
No.
he programs his cleaning droids. And there's a
Nice to see you, buddy.
there's a
Yeah.
there's a
Going
spill on aisle 5 of acid. I don't know why it would be acid, but let's go with it. So
Yeah,
the
let's go
droids
with it.
come out and clean it up, and he puts some plasteel or something like that. And is it a story about Jedi or the rebellion? No. Does it fit like? Would it fit into Star Wars? Yes, because well, one, cleaners clean with mops and buckets, not cleaner droids. If
Yeah.
there's damage to the floor, well, they don't spray some plasteel foam or something like that. I've got no idea. That is that's what we should be expecting. From the feeling I get from the Andor writers, going through that story with Cleaner Bob, I've probably already changed his name already. He would be drinking coffee. He would get his mop and bucket out, and he would put cones around the damage, because what can he do? Now, he might be walking around aliens, but does that, getting the Windex out and starting to spray the area, does that really feel like Star Wars? Would grabbing a mop and bucket feel like Star Wars?
Yeah, I get what you're
Yeah.
getting at.
So
Grabbing a
that's
mop and bucket feel like Star Wars.
but I mean the thing is that that's why I'm sort of saying it.
We need to tweet that.
feels-
Would grabbing a mop and bucket feel like Star Wars?
Yeah, there you go. Tweet ideas.
Go right ahead.
Here, I'm gonna.
Quote me if you need to.
I will.
But I mean the thing is that even even sort of places in Star Wars that isn't real, that aren't really high tech, would they still be using mop and bucket? And the answer is probably not. They would still be using some form of future tech, because what we would consider future tech would just be technology that was developed 300 years ago, and they've just been using it as they always.
But I get what you're saying, because it does really feel like there's not as much high tech stuff going on. It feels too down to earth. I think that's what
it's not even for. It's no, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's just that if you pulled off all of the Star Wars aesthetics and moved it into a modern day setting, you wouldn't have to change anything in the storyline.
True enough.
And the thing is that in pretty much all of the other Star Wars shows, you can't do that.
That's true.
It wouldn't work. And that's the biggest problem I'm having with Andor, is that it feels just sci-fi, not sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah.
And so, when um, who said when Cap said it's a really good Star Wars series, and it's just like I can't agree with him because it doesn't feel like a Star Wars series. It just feels like a sci-fi series.
Well, you, which you gotta watch the last episode to really see some of the other stuff they added in. But with the two episodes that you watched, I can see why you're saying that. And maybe your
It,
opinion won't
but
change the next one.
but I mean, it's
But
5 episodes. It's
true,
5 episodes. I shouldn't be feeling this
true,
by 5 episodes. And
true.
like I said, it's not. It's very much sort of like Tron Legacy. Tron Legacy had the exact same problem. Um, if you had have taken, if you had have taken everything, all the acting, characters, and storyline, and placed it in a medieval world um, instead of a computer. And what I mean is, instead of the father and the main character being drawn into a computer system, they're drawn into a fantasy world. You could change absolutely nothing. It
Oh,
moves
really?
from a sci-fi to an isekai. Because I
What
mean,
is
the
it?
thing was that in Tron Legacy, it was sort of like, oh, he's a user, but outside of doing magic, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
nothing really showed what made a user important.
Oh,
Um, because I mean, the thing was that it was sort of like, oh god, it was. I can't remember the actor's name.
what actor for who again?
Tron Legacy, main character of Tron and the father in Tron Legacy.
Oh, well, I've never watched Tron
Um,
Legacy, so I can't tell you. I have no idea.
I
Frankly, I ain't even
can.
watched the first Tron either, so that's sort of a
Oh, what?
yeah. I know.
Well, to get you up to speed, in Tron, it made you feel like the main character was in a computer.
Mm-hmm.
In Tron Legacy, they didn't.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
Hello
we have
there.
a
what
chrono.
we have
Oh,
here?
Hi.
Hello, what have we here? Lando reference. Um. Okay, everybody, this is my minority friend Chrono. Say hello.
Hi, minority friend here.
Good. We finally got the protection.
Yes,
I'm here to
exactly.
validate this stream.
Yeah, we had to censor ourselves for like most of the stream, but now now we can go fully uncensored with what we want to say.
Absolutely.
Well, anyway, I'm just kidding, but continue, story away.
Yeah.
Keep
And it
going,
was Jeff Bridges. That's it.
Jeff Bridges. Okay.
Yeah. There was just one scene in where Jeff Bridges walks into the bar, and he sort of like thumps the ground or something like that, and the music and lights go funny and stuff like that, and does the typical sort of um kung fu master type bit.
Oh, interesting.
um but I mean, yet again, it was sort of if you have taken that out and put it into a medieval fantasy setting, he walks into a bar and casts wind magic, and then some souped up magic to kick everyone's ass. You didn't need to sort of change anything, and that's sort of the exact same problem I'm sort of having with Andor, is that it doesn't fit the setting. It feels like a story is being implemented into the setting. And
what a way to bring the point around.
I know, but I mean, I hope it helps everyone sort of. I hope it sort of helps everyone realize where I'm sort of coming with this, and
Oh no,
and
I
why I'm
completely
sort of
understand.
why I'm having trouble. This is an American political drama in Star Wars clothing. If you had Andor and his merry little crew could be, in the Middle East, trying to steal some. Well, actually, with the political climate the way it is, on the border of Russia, and could be stealing some money from the Russian government, and like I said, you wouldn't need to change anything. Maybe Andor was a former Russian soldier, and that's why he sort of knows the ins and outs type situation. And he was found in South America or something like that and flown over. You wouldn't really need to sort of change anything from the core storyline to have it fit into another setting. You just need to change a few dialogue bits.
Before we continue on, I have one major question though, and it's directed towards Chrono.
Yeah.
Chrono, I have a question. So, did you watch these last 3 episodes by chance?
The last 2 episodes from Andor.
The last 2? Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Hang on, isn't there 3?
I mean, yes, there is 3.
Well, yeah, we haven't talked about the last stream, but yeah, I'm up to date.
Okay. I'm just making sure because besides me and you, then it's we sort of have a lack of knowledge on the last episode in particular. So
we are the only ones who have seen all 6.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
I just wanted to see if I was the only one. I'm calling Sir AOA out mainly, but that's look. I don't do it to be mean. I do it because it's our thing now. It's sort of I don't know. It's sort of our thing now. So
you're taking it out on him because you can call out Commander Tano because she's a Mary Sue. So.
Well, I didn't want to say it out loud and prove it, but yeah, I guess. I didn't want to show I was scared, but I guess now you've exposed me. We're going to call this stream Shade Exposed. Yeah.
But
also, you are finally going for the OnlyFans angle.
I mean,
but shade.
What?
I'm the one you should be scared of.
Well, if you're whispering in my ear like that, I would be. because it really like I've got one headset, one side of my headset on, and my other one exposed in my other ear. So all I heard was you sort of like whispering into my left ear. That's what it felt like, and I'm like, oh gosh, he's right next to me. I mean, he could be, but nobody else here would know.
That's right.
Yeah,
But
I'm
yeah,
not,
so
I'm not at liberty to say. I'm not allowed.
it's there's nothing. I guess this is the biggest problem. There's nothing that's making me excited about Andor.
Well, you haven't watched the 6th episode either, so
Yeah, but like I said earlier, it's the 5th episode.
but you still ain't watched the 6th. That's the real problem here. The 3rd episode and the 6th episode are the 2 most action-packed episodes that we've gotten.
And
other
the
4
thing
stories.
is that the 3rd episode didn't really change anything for me. That's the thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, see, now that you've watched the 3rd episode, and because you didn't watch it the last time either. Like, come on, Saraway, keep up. But
well, I was up to date for bloody last week, but oh nope, somebody just couldn't
hey,
get out
look,
of work.
Hey, I need money, okay? I think that's a great reason.
Nope.
Okay. I guess I can't earn my money to be able to go to work and have a job and then be able to pay for the internet in order to do this. So if this
Something
ends, it'll
along
be
those
your
lines.
fault. If I listen to you, this is going to be your fault that this ends. All you.
But yeah, but I mean, it's probably. I mean, the thing is that even the death of the dumbass wasn't that exciting.
Oh, really?
In the 3rd episode. I can't remember the guy's name now.
I know who you're talking about. But he really shouldn't have done that.
Because I mean, it was just so stupid.
I mean, I didn't like his character anyway, especially after what he did to Andor. So.
Oh, absolutely. It's just sort of like, good. I'm kind of wanting him to die, and it's like he died like that. Oh God.
I don't know if he deserved a good death. That's the thing. Like the way I see it is, he done something stupid. He died stupid. I don't know.
But I mean, it's. But I mean, the way he died wasn't just stupid; it was pathetic. That's the thing.
Pathetic for him to sell out Andor just because he thought he was sleeping with his girlfriend.
No, but I mean, the thing is that I mean, there's dying stupid, and then there's dying the way he did. just another level of absolute moronicism. Because I mean, the thing is that if he had have just, I don't know, stood there and done nothing, the cops would have left, and he could have got her out of that situation.
Well, to be fair, the other guy, the other cop guy, shouldn't have shot him, knowing he literally wasn't a threat. Like, he had no weapons or anything like that, and he shoots to kill him. Like,
so in other words, you're saying. So in other words, you're saying that he's the white George Floyd.
Oh gosh, you want to set me on fire, don't you? Oh
No,
gosh.
am I serious? No, not really. But I mean, it's just sort of a case of, you know, it's the
That's
whole police brutality thing raising
yes.
its head and being
I
shoved into a story that yet again doesn't fit.
well, I am not going to answer that for the various reason of I don't want to die today. Okay, but um, I will say that they didn't warn him that he was going to shoot, and if he got any closer. I mean, because if they had warned him that they were going to shoot if he takes another step, he might would have reconsidered. But no, he's like, "No, I'm just going to keep walking," because they said stay back and not like, "Sir, we will fire upon you if you get any closer," which would be like good if you planned on shooting them, you know, when they got closer. But they don't do that and they just shoot. So that whoever was holding the rifle, didn't they die as well?
Yeah, he was flying the ship that was cable tied to the ground, which yet
Well, he
again,
deserved
uh,
that.
uh oh no, hey, it was cable tied to something that was heavy and just weighted and um, but Jesus, even that was
I thought that was sort of funny, to be honest. I like that one.
no, I actually thought it was pathetic.
I
I mean,
mean,
I was looking for some when that character was walking away from it and you knew he sabotaged it. I was expecting something sort of cool and sort of what has he done? Not he just cable tied something heavy to it.
well, I'm easily pleased. I was okay with it. It don't take much to
Um,
make me happy. As long as they get what
well,
they deserve, that's all I care about.
you gave Kenobi a 6, so of course.
I mean, look, I'm a nice guy, okay? I'm very positive most of the time, and I when I saw that scene where Anakin's voice came through the helmet rather than Vader's voice, that whole scene made that episode feel really good for me, even minus the Riva stuff. Which, by the way, speaking of Riva, at my store down here, we got like a whole set of Riva pop figures, Funko pop figures. I'm not sold a single one of them. Just saying, they are in our department down there because we have a lot of collectibles over there. Not a single one of them has been sold, as far as I know. They have not been sold, and I'm like, we got a whole box just full of those, and I'm like, we're never getting rid of those, and we haven't yet.
At what point do you like mark them down, put them on clearance or whatever?
Usually when they start changing things around in the department and things start leaving. But that's more of a upper management kind of thing. They
Right.
decide when that happens. I guess not like upper management in our store, but above them.
No,
I
you
guess the home
personally make
office.
these decisions. You could start marking these down right now.
Well, technically, I have that ability to do that, but then I'd probably get in trouble depending on what it is, and
I don't think you will.
Well,
I don't
when
think
they
you will be in
when
trouble.
they finally
was it? Sorry.
You
when they
wouldn't be in
finally get
trouble.
marked down, oh, Jesus.
Okay,
If
hold
you
on.
did that, you wouldn't get in trouble because no one would notice.
Well, I mean, the home office would probably notice, but other than that,
No, they
nobody else
wouldn't
would.
because they would have to be sold for people to notice what they were marked down, and they won't be sold.
Oh, well, yeah,
Got a
maybe.
point. No, but when they finally get marked down to 50 cents, I'll send you money to just buy a few so we can, blue torch them or do some fun stuff.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a plan. I'll let you know the moment they go on sale down there.
I mean, when you say on sale, I mean sort of
I'm talking about
so
clearance, like
cheap.
almost. Yes,
Yeah, just
the,
just
yes, that's what we had to do since inventory was coming up for the place I work at, and we were just clearancing about everything that we could. The only thing is, certain things didn't leave, so we couldn't clearance certain things. That was unfortunately including the Reva Funkos. So we're never going to get rid of those until we clearance them. That's what This has been months ago, by the way, and they're still there. I'm not talking like we just got them. I mean, we've had them for months.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I was the one that unboxed them and put them up there. So I know that we have them, and I know how long it's been. It's been a little bit, that's for sure.
Yeah,
But anyways,
it happened here too. A
yeah.
store close to where I live just got like a couple of sets from Kenobi,
Mm-hmm.
and this was like 2 or 3 days ago. I went back today, and they only have like one Obi-Wan, no Vader, none of the other figures, and they only have like five Rivas.
Well, you can tell which one they buy the most of:
Yeah,
Vader and Kenobi.
Vader and Kenobi, of course.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't though? I mean, not gonna lie. Even if
Well,
whether you
to
like the show or not.
I wouldn't buy that Kenobi because they made the stupid mistake of having his lightsaber off in his hand. I
Oh
don't see
well, I
myself
mean,
buying a figure like that. I don't know why they did that.
I don't know either.
I mean,
I
he's
think
holding the
we
damn
just
thing
got some
with
of
his
those
paw.
too, by the way, because I just like I wasn't the one to put them out, but I'm pretty sure we got like a few of those the other day because I seen like the boxes that they were in, because they were like in these display box things that you would usually set leave them in because they come in the set like that. But the way we got things set over there, we don't have room to put those things in boxes like that, so we have to take them out. Not out of the actual packaging of the Funko. I'm talking about like the thing it sets in. But anyway, I'm going too far into that, and I don't want to think about my job while I'm off for this day and tomorrow. So let's move on to something else. So, anyways, I think we got the point that Saraway was going for,
Yep,
and
pretty much.
what before me and Kronos speak about what we know about Andor, I was about to say Kenobi, about Andor. I'm going to let Commander Tano give her thoughts on what she's heard so far, and then we'll get into what Chrono thinks, and then we'll get into the spoiler territory for you guys with the last episode, since neither of you have watched that last episode that's come out. So, anyways, go ahead, Commander Tono. What do you think of what you've heard so far?
What I've heard so far is not much, and that's probably discussion worthy in itself. So, and I get, granted, some of it has been, I've been kind of a little bit more busy these past couple weeks than usual, but still, it's like for past shows, it would be, I've said this before, it's so easy for me to just see. I wouldn't have to look for it. Spoilers on Kenobi or Book of Boba Fett. That was easy. This one, yeah, I just, it's like if I want, I have to kind of really, really look for even just, you know, the slightest kind of reactions. They're there, but it's, yeah. And so I'm kind of, it'll be interesting going forward. Um, Obviously, I can't see, you know, look, see what, truly like kind of what the numbers are for Disney for each of these shows. But
Oh, you will soon.
Yes. I I wonder going forward. Um, I'm trying to remember how much money went into each episode of this show, but I wonder if going forward, if just the fact it, regardless of how, you know, how much people like it or don't, if Disney's going to be like, oh wait, we didn't, you know, we didn't get much, as much attention or viewership from this project as we have with others that involve legacy characters. And even then, we're struggling kind of with those from a viewership and PR perspective. It's like, ooh, what do we do in the future? Is this going to lead to some project being canceled or postponed, or, it'll be interesting to see how kind of the lack thereof of just hype about this is how that's going to affect the pipeline going forward. And you know the that's the thing. It's like if they had I feel like if they had if they hadn't, I do think in part Fett and Kenobi kind of hurt this show. Um, I think people,
As I said last stream, right show, wrong time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. So yeah, I think
It's
those
something.
prior, I definitely think those prior two shows hurt this show, and it's like at least with say a show like Kenobi, it's like they could at least generate hate views, if you get what I mean. It's
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
um it's hate slash mockery views, and this for shows involving characters that were in a character that was featured in a spin-off that it's been some time now since that. Well, what year was Rogue One?
2016, I think. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
2016.
A spin-off
so
of a
over
spin-off.
5 years, which
The
is a long
spin-off of a
time,
spin-off.
frankly, for you know
Yeah, it
uh,
has been a little bit.
yeah, it's 2016. That's crazy, but um yeah, so it's been a while, and so it's like that kind of show. It's like you can't. At some point, it's like you don't have the legacy character investment. Yeah, you can kind of throw in some. You can kind of, with that kind of show, cameo some characters in if you like or whatever. But um, it's yeah, it's just not, from just a business standpoint. If you're going to do a show like that, you need to find some way to keep that kind of character in the loop and in kind of public knowledge long enough so that you don't have people being like, well, what's this about? um
Hmm.
I don't know that they've done so much of a good, they haven't really done a good job of that. Now I think if they, I think going back to, if we go back to when they did season 2 of The Mandalorian, if, you know, if they had just, you know, if they had, just in so many respects, slowed down and cooled down, both in terms of, obviously their HR decisions,
Hmm.
their creative decisions, their decisions about when to roll out certain projects and how soon and what, um, I think you could have, like, if they have done well with other things, then you could have had people on board for, you could have had more people kind of in the state where it's like, I'll just take anything that's Star Wars because they've just been consistently good. And so I'm sure this thing, even though I don't know as much about this character, it'll be good too. And you could just already have that goodwill built in, people just line up. But
Mhm.
now with the timing of it, they've they've burnt a lot of bridges and eroded a lot of goodwill, or even just for people who are like kind of okay with that or Kenobi, they're kind of like just left them in the state that's like, okay, it's okay, but I'm not enthused anymore. I'm not, here's gonna be another show about a character I know even less about, and it's probably judging from the prior two shows gonna be so it's like, what, I got other things to do with my life and whatever. Um, you know,
And
um,
and see that's probably the biggest problem is that this show really isn't sort of lighting any fires. Because I mean, as a sci-fi show, yeah, it's okay, but it's also something that I've seen multiple times already.
if you want to get people back on the bandwagon, you gotta do something. You need to do something really big and good. Just
Yeah, like the Mandalorian.
yep.
Mhm.
You you
Yep.
you quite literally need to, you know, do a Mandalorian type impact. And Andor is just not doing that.
I'm worried about season 3. I'm worried about that.
After Book of Boba Fett, yeah, even now I am.
Did you just
Oh,
say Bobo Fett?
That's how
That is
past
like you said
that's how
Bobo
past
Fett.
caring we are.
um,
Okay.
was saying, hang on. It completely depends on how much, um, how much the Emperor has her fingers on season 3.
See,
Well, go ahead.
sorry.
Go
I was
ahead.
saying for me, I almost feel like, see, yeah, I'll judge. I think almost for me in a way, season 3 is kind of spoiled because I feel like they put material in the Book of Boba Fett that A shouldn't have been there. It should have been Mandalorian season 3, and B, if they were going to, if you're going to do those episodes, it's like I feel like those should have taken more time and shouldn't have just been a couple of episodes. Like that whole reunion was far too quick for me.
Mhm.
Yep.
And I feel like there are some missed opportunities. And maybe they'll go backtrack and they'll in season 3 they'll go and address those things, but expand on them. But I highly doubt that'll happen. But like for instance, the whole when Luke was presenting Grogu with the test with the do you want to be a Jedi or a Mandalorian, and it's
I
like
feel like they should have left it there.
I Yeah, or it's like what I would have done is okay. I would like transpose that to season 3, and there's a lot of I would have actually kept that moment, but I would have used it and used it kind of more as a teaching moment for Luke. I wouldn't have left that just be Luke doing that. I'd be like, I'd let him make that. In my view, that's a mistake. I'd let him as a character make that mistake, but I would make him learn from that.
Mhm.
What
Because to
What do you
me, it's
mean
like,
mistake?
I guess to me, it's like, I feel like that either or kind of, putting that big either or kind of choice to Grogu, like you can become a Jedi or you can go be with your family, attachments, all that. It's like, I feel, I just
Yeah,
don't like that. And I know some
we
people
yeah,
are
but I mean
okay with it.
we went through that in the stream talking about that episode.
We
There's
did.
a
We
difference.
did.
There's a difference between attachment and over attachment. And
Yeah.
Grogu was definitely in the over attachment phase. He was definitely it was he was so attached that was affecting that he couldn't move forward in either direction. So it wasn't so much Luke going against what he's learnt himself.
Oh, I agree. So what Luke did, I think that's consistent with I think that's consistent with where his character is at that point and what he's learned. Like but and so it's like, and once again, maybe it's like me. I'm greedy for this more emotionally satisfying arc to me, but I get and where it's like I kind of I guess I'm frustrated because it's I'm like the kind of audience outside looking in. I'm like, no, you need to watch the Clone Wars, Luke, and you need to don't put the child through that kind of traumatic decision. But and and that's where I would have probably utilized Ahsoka to just kind of be like, no, you don't, you don't need to make him make that kind of choice. I get that you think, you know,
Well,
But no,
being a
but
Jedi, you have to.
yet again, it was a choice that Grogu had to make. It was a
I
choice
don't
that
know.
Grogu had to make. It wasn't a choice that, this is not Luke going to Bespin. This is because the thing is that with Luke going to Bespin, he was still moving forward. Where with Grogu, if no choice would have been made, that's still a choice. But he wouldn't be able to move forward. He there was absolutely no. He might have made little incremental improvements, but he would still be in that vulnerable state if he didn't make that choice. He needed to make a choice. Didn't matter which choice it was, but he had to make a choice. And the
Stop
thing
questioning my
was that
feelings and instincts.
how dare you, Soraya, question her feelings and instincts?
I'd say that's a
but that
microaggression, but no, that's like a macroaggression.
excuse me. Excuse me. I don't do microaggressions.
That's
If
true.
I'm going to aggress, it's going to be a macroaggression.
I can actually see that. That's actually true. I just I don't even personally know him, and I'm just gonna say that's actually true. I don't care. I think that's actually true.
But I mean the thing is that the reason why it sort of gets my goat up is because people damn it, I've now lost the track. It's the exact same mentality that people have when they're talking about, oh, how the Last Jedi humanized Luke.
He wasn't human.
No,
before.
it didn't. It this is not how humans act. And it's very much sort of the same thought process is that if you are just looking at it dispassionately, yeah, Grogu needed to make a choice or he wouldn't grow, period.
Real quick.
Yep.
We are talking about Andor tonight, as much as even though a couple of us haven't watched everything yet. So we
That'll
are
tell you something,
talking
though.
about it.
That'll tell you
I mean,
something. The issue that show has.
Well, I'll get to that when it's my turn. I'll get to that when it's my turn. Anyways, Commander Tony, you got anything else to say about this?
Yeah, not much. It's mainly like I just yeah, that's it. That's it. I'll just stay in my place and be silent now.
Okay, well, yeah, I may come back to you once to both of you once we discuss the final episode. But now on to Chrono, the only other person besides me who's watched all of them. So Chrono, how did you like these last few episodes?
Well, first of all, you made a mistake there. You said you might go back to her, and no, you will go back to her unless you're gonna get canceled.
Oh, I don't want to get
So,
canceled, so I will. I will. I
uh,
promise.
yeah, that was never a matter of if.
Yep.
It was a sure thing. Uh,
Okay,
uh,
look. You don't have to complain this much on me, okay? I'm a terrible host. I know it.
I don't think you're terrible. I just think you sometimes
I'm very
forget that
cancelable, maybe.
you forget that there is a victimhood point hierarchy that you need to follow, and Commander Tano ranks the highest. I mean, if she wants to, she can get shut down this whole thing in seconds.
True, true. I probably need to be careful then. That's your cue for saying no. You'll be dead. Because Star Wars Episode 4 reference.
Yeah, no, no,
And
Anyways,
slow.
yeah, too slow.
maybe, but it's okay. It's perfectly fine. It's not like I wanted anyway to make that reference or anything. Um. Anyways, away from the awkward referencing that I'm doing, go ahead, Chrono. What do you think? What do you think about these last few episodes?
I think that we were last time we reviewed the three-episode arc that was like a prologue to the whole thing, and then we were
Mm-hmm.
dropped into this planet, and we were supposed to see how this small rebel band is planning the heist and everything, and we get to know every one of them. And I think these past three episodes should have been two,
Mm-hmm.
because the episode between the first one and the third one in this new arc,
Mm-hmm.
it's extremely slow and it's full of moments that we don't get anything out of. It's the whole thing. This with the cop, Sybil, something like that. He's called
Mm-hmm.
the cop that was fired.
Yep.
Whole thing with him and his mother, just constantly nagging at him that he's good for nothing. That went nowhere. I mean, we saw so many clips of him talking to his mother about how incompetent he was and how he had no drive and no passion for anything. And it's like, where are you going with this? I mean, if you wanted us to know that his mom is constantly on his ass, you could have done that with one scene, not five. I
True.
mean, why would you extend such a minor thing so much? And that's all we got from him, because the, you would think that, okay, they're building him up to something, but we never see him again, at least not for now. So what was the point of doing all that?
That is true. We don't. I didn't think about it until you said it, but now that you say it, and I'm just thinking back at it, I'm like, what were they trying to do with that? Which I guess they're saving that for future episodes, hopefully.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I
I mean,
feel like,
it's obvious that they are going for something way later. But the thing is, we are here in the present, and you have a slow show. People are not caring enough to tune in, and you're wasting time
Hi.
in this character. Yeah, absolutely. Commander Tano said it very well. She has to pick and choose specific tweets and posts to find out stuff about Andor. And that's because no one is talking about this show, good or bad. No one cares. I mean, you can leave aside the fact that whether you like the show or not, people don't care about this show. I was reading some posts, and some people were saying like, "Oh, it's so sad. I like this show, but there's no audience. No one's watching it, and it probably will impact negatively and have them cut off episodes or something." And I was like, "Yeah, that might happen because no one cares." And the reason no one cares is there are several reasons. As I talked to someone I know earlier in the week, and one of those reasons is that we have been burned so much from the previous shows, watching so much mediocrity from Boba Fett and Kenobi back to back is hurting Andor like hell. People have no confidence on Andor being good. They are not even giving it a chance. Uh, I have a hard time finding reviews for it because no one is reviewing the show. And it also doesn't help that right now the hottest review scandal is Power, which is taking all the eyes away from anything. But
Mm-hmm.
when you have a good show and when you have a good track record, that wouldn't matter. People still tune in and see, oh, let's check out what they come up with this week. And that's not happening for Andor. We do it because you and I and other people are too much of Star Wars geeks, and we still care a little bit for it. So we will watch whatever Star Wars puts out, even if we don't like it. But that's not the case for everyone. And I know a lot of people who are actually very much into Star Wars, and they won't give this a chance because they're like, no, I don't really have a desire to watch this. What's the hook? I mean, no, I talk to many people and they say like, no, I don't really care. I don't really feel like I should be watching this.
And
And
actually,
it's a shame. It's a shame because this show is not bad at all. It's slow, yes, and it chooses to extend portions of it for no good reason sometimes, but it's still a good show. I agree with some of the criticisms. It doesn't feel like Star Wars. The time it doesn't. You have to really look for specific moments where it does look like Star Wars or feels like Star Wars, but it's not all the
Mm-hmm.
time. Even the escape in the heist does. Some people were saying, yeah, like that's very like Star Wars. It kind of is, but not exactly. I mean, a lot of the shots don't look like Star Wars, don't feel like Star Wars. Uh, and I personally don't have a problem with it, but a lot of people will have a problem with it, and they will say this is not Star Wars, and they would walk away. So yeah, I
but
mean,
yeah, no, Chrono. Oh, sorry, continue.
yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, but no, Chrono just sort of made me remember something. Um, Iron Fist, the Netflix Iron Fist show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That was extremely mediocre.
yes, it was.
Did people watch it? Oh, hell yeah. Why? Because Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage were bloody awesome.
Yeah,
They were just so outstanding that people went, you know what? I'm gonna stick with Iron Fist. And yeah, actually, I think Iron Fist season 2 was actually quite good in comparison.
yeah,
Still
it
wasn't
was.
great, but it was definitely better than season 1. Um, but what sort of got people through was the fact that the other 3 shows were awesome. Now Defenders was a bit but I very much enjoyed it, and the main reason was because the other shows were just absolutely outstanding, and then they came in with Punisher, and it's like, oh boy.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's kind of a mirror image of what's happening with Star Wars. in Star Wars so far, there's been one standout show, one that was okay, and the rest have been sort of different levels of disasters.
Yeah.
I mean, I still pity Boba Fett because it was a really good idea, just covered in crap. And
we're not even going to
some
talk about how one of my favorite characters got killed in it too, with little to no screen time.
but no, but I mean the thing is that when it came to Boba Fett, it was just a good idea, horribly executed. Where the next show that came after that was just a horrible idea, horribly executed.
Yeah.
So hence why I still rate Boba Fett over Kenobi. I can at least sit down and enjoy Boba Fett, but Kenobi makes me want to get the alcohol out.
Well, for me, it's the complete opposite. I think that the way they did Boba Fett in general was a bad idea. I think it should have been him actually just being a bounty hunter rather than trying to run the empire or whatever on in Mos Espa.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got to remember, you're talking about someone in their mid-40s.
Well, yeah, but he was still able to do some really cool scenes, like that one scene in The Mandalorian season 2, and in the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett. He
Yeah,
had his
but I
scenes.
mean the thing is that it makes complete sense that, especially after he was just sort of like left for dead in the bloody Jawa's mouth, it made sense that he's just sort of like, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna get what's mine.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that does make sense, but they also beat him up like half the time they was there too.
I think Soreo is correct. That the idea that he would go back to these people and say, "Hey, I'm gonna run things now because I'm tired of looking over my shoulder, so I'm gonna be the boss." I think that's a great idea. But yes, it was terribly executed, and I think your idea about seeing more of Boba Fett as a bounty hunter is cool. But I would go for that in an animated show, Clone Wars style.
Okay, I can accept that.
Yeah,
I can actually accept that.
a sort of what was he doing? Oh no, actually, I've got no idea. Maybe sort of what he was doing.
I think we okay. So this is my idea then. So I was watching, or I wasn't watching. I was on Disney Plus. I was scrolling through the timeline thing on there. You know how they have the Star Wars timeline in order, and it was showing every show in order. Well, I saw, all the shows that were showing up, and they were, spreading out the main movies for the most part, except for the original trilogy. Now we got the Clone Wars, we got Star Wars Rebels, but all that takes place before the original trilogy. Andor takes place before the original trilogy. Everything is taking place before. Nothing's doing it like the Clone Wars during the original trilogy. I think we need a Boba Fett show taking place during the original trilogy, showing what he was doing during the original trilogy. How many times do I have to say during to get it
But
through
no,
everybody's
hang on,
head?
but hang on. We already knew what he was doing during the original trilogy. He was working for Jabba. He was working for
That,
he was
but
hunting
that's the
down
point.
Han Solo.
Well, that wasn't his only job, though. Like, that may have been a job, but I have a feeling that he isn't going to go through all 4 of those years of the original trilogy, finally get him like on the last year of that galactic civil war that was going on. Um, I'm just saying, like, he probably had to pick up a few jobs in between in order to pay for everything that he needed. Because I mean, one job lasting that long, not getting paid till that job's done, I don't really see that being ethical in his sense. Plus, I mean, Han Solo is a rebellion general. He's probably going to have a hard time getting to him.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess the biggest problem is they were kind of stuck. Could you really do 20 years ago, could you do a Boba Fett show of that time period? Yes. Now, you might struggle with that. De-aging can only go so far.
Well, that's why when he said during do a show animated showing what he was up to, and
Oh
then
yeah,
have that's what I was talking about, an animated show that takes place during the Galactic Civil War era, the original trilogy era, however you wish to say it. But I feel like they need to start doing something with that era during it rather than before and after it all the time. I mean, yeah, it's nice to see what happened after Order 66. It's nice to see how the galaxy is changing and all that stuff. And but I'd like to see more of what was going on during the original trilogy. Because, yeah, we got to see, some interesting things with the original trilogy movies, but we didn't get to see, like, the people dealing with the Empire during probably the height of their power, or.
Hey,
Mhm.
hang
Well,
on.
I guess it wouldn't be
Isn't
considered the height
isn't
of their power.
Rebels in that time period though?
Nope. The finale has one scene that takes place during that time period, and it's the final scene where Sabine is looking at the big mural of the
Oh,
Ghost
okay.
Crew. Well, that's technically after that the era. It's literally right after it, and they were explaining how things went throughout the rest of the original trilogy and where certain characters ended up, I guess. Like Captain Rex, they confirmed he was that old man that was in that one scene with Han Solo
Yeah.
in the episode 6. They confirmed that. So, I mean, there's a few things in that particular scene, but the show itself only takes place during the in between of episode 3 and 4, which is I think like 4 years before episode 4, because Ezra was born on Empire Day, I guess you can call it. Which I found that to be a cringy episode because they could have literally come up with a better name for the holiday than just calling it Empire Day, but that's okay. But he was born on the day that the Empire was created, and he's 15 at that point, so that's 15 years. And Star Wars Episode 4 takes place 19 years after Episode 3, so it was 4 years ahead of time.
Okay.
But yeah, that's why I'm saying there needs to be an animated show during that time, or some sort of show that takes place during the original trilogy. But my idea would be that if you want to do something like that, do one on Boba Fett being a bounty hunter. Then, if you want to show him in his prime, give us something animated. That would be,
Yeah.
I mean, that would be doable.
The biggest problem with that is that, well, animation's bloody expensive.
Well, Disney's got the money for it.
You mean had the money for it?
Well, okay, probably had.
Actually,
Yes.
yeah, I don't think the money is the biggest problem at all. It's mostly is the mindset. They would not make that show unless they can point it in a very active way what they all the shows. Like Andor, for example, is and I said this before Andor even came out. I think I said it here that this show was the one to benefit from wokeness, and it has, because the whole show is about the little man trying to take down the oppressors. And in this case, it's actually true. The empire is an oppressive force.
Mm-hmm.
And they are playing space revolutionary. Every one of them are. And they like to pretend like they're taking down these giant supremacists. And that's another thing that hurt the show before it came out. A lot of people won't give it a chance because the articles promoting this show were all about the Trumpian era and were all about how the woman in the empire intelligence, she was going to show everyone how it's done. And it's when you do that, people won't bother checking out your show because they will immediately say, oh no, that's going to be another woke mess. I'm not touching that. And the result is a low audience. It was a really stupid thing to do, to market this show like the wokest thing ever, because yes, it's going to be because of the themes, but if you say it in that way, when you already know people don't like shows to be like that, then you should keep your mouth shut and let people judge the show before you start saying we're going for this and that and we're going to show you. And no, let people make their own opinions. And even if the show is woke, it will still work. In this particular scenario, it works for it to be like that. Because yes, this is a group of small people who have no resources. This is why they're stealing the payroll. They need money to fund their operation. They don't have any.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even have enough money to eat, according to what the small leader, the girl Maldani says. They were not even eating properly because they had no money.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I wonder, I wonder if they kind of were angling for hate views. Like if they were thinking like, oh wait, we've got this show and it's not based off this big legacy character and we need, I don't know if we're going to get enough kind of quote like fans to watch it, so maybe we can at least get some hate viewers, maybe we can at least get kind of like the usual, kind of YouTubers kind of reacting
Fan
to it and
baiting
kind of
101.
yeah, kind of, and get people to give it some attention and take it apart or whatever, kind of like got that attention with Kenobi within it, and so that they're trying to throw something out there, some kind of bait out there. Yeah.
But in this case, they miscalculated something about. I mean, I'm sure they are aiming for that, but the problem is
Yeah.
a lot of people already don't care, and they are not going to
Yes.
hate watch. They
Yep.
won't.
The time to harvest, they harvested the hate views from Kenobi, but that now the harvest is done. it's
The well is
it's
dry.
winter.
Yeah, it's winter.
Yep.
Winter has come.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to make that joke or reference. You do this
Sorry.
all the time. This never changes. Ever. I just got to be faster than you. But
You notice how he stole the joke from the white supremacist man
yeah, I'm a white supremacist.
in a very rebel fashion.
Yeah.
Rebellion!
I'd be afraid if a bunch of Australians came to my house like yelling at me. I'd be like legit in my closet, curled up in a ball, like they're going to cuss me out. No, they're not even going to do that. They're literally going to like verbally abuse me.
A bunch. I would be afraid
They
if
don't even
one
have to
showed up.
Excuse me.
They won't have to physically touch me. I'll already be like hurt.
Excuse me. That is culturally insensitive. We would just be talking to you normally. Oh, wait. Sorry. Hang on. I forgot you're an American. Yeah, no. You guys would think of it as verbal abuse.
Yeah, see, you're being culturally insensitive. I can't speak. You know what? Forget it. I'm going to shut up now. You know what? You're the host now. You're gonna have it.
The power is mine.
I mean, technically, it's mine, as you can see, but I'm letting you have the power for now. That's silence, though.
I'm not doing the joke twice. It defeats
Okay.
the purpose.
That's true. That's true. Well, anyway, so I want to get back to Andor here because it's almost my
The
turn to
purpose of the
speak.
show.
Yeah, it's sort of the purpose of this episode. You know, I feel like we've gotten much more off topic during this particular
Yeah.
stream. And well, these
But
last two particular streams have felt more off topic. And I mean, there is good reason for that, of course, which I will give my opinion on later, but uh, not much later. It's almost there, but I'm going to let Chrono finish up first before I continue on. So go ahead,
yeah,
Chrono.
yeah, I
Finish
think
up
that
what you were saying.
I think the way that the attention has derailed from Endor three times already, it speaks for itself. I mean, the show is not exactly gold. It's not like something everyone should be watching and something to knock you off your seat or anything. And it lacks the support because people are not really interested. There's very little to say about it. Commander Tano pointed out earlier, before the show even came out, that it might have a problem without legacy characters, and yeah, it does, because even though we know Andor from Rogue One, the truth is we don't care about him. Maybe a little, but it's not like we're so invested in what's going to happen to him. First of all, because we already know what's going to happen to him. He's going to become this special operator for the resistance, and he's going to be
And he's
this
gonna be
ruthless
killed.
this ruthless person.
That too.
He's going to die. Yeah, eventually he's going to die.
Yes.
We know how he dies. So yeah, what are the stakes here? And I also think that when it comes to legacy characters, they just gave us Mon Mothma, uh, and I didn't like it because sure, it's supposed to show what life was for her as a senator before she was forced to go deeper into the rebellion, but they are trying to paint her as this and this weak. They're trying to paint her as like she's very strong, but the reality is she looks weak because she's kind of being put off by this douchebag husband she has, and her daughter doesn't. What's the point? Are you just trying to tell me that no one cares about this woman?
That's something I had a problem with as well. I hated that. I feel like they really dissed Mon Mothma, giving her a home life like that in this show. I feel like she would have had a. I feel like either she wouldn't have had a husband, or she would have had a supportive husband that was there with her helping, or maybe something had happened to her husband because you don't see him in episode 6 when
Yeah.
Mon Mothma is there talking to the rebels. Like, where? Why did they do this? They could have done something so much better with her family.
I
But
mean, if they were going to show us what she was like during that time, they should have focused on on her life as a senator, and the other part should have focused on her being a part of this underground resistance forming. And the only
yeah.
hint we get at that is when she talks to Luthen. And that's a very small exchange, like, oh, yeah, we're in cahoots. And I'm not supposed to be seen in public doing this with you. And the driver is a spy. Bye. That's it. The rest
Yeah.
of what we see from her is all of her married life and her daughter. And it's like, that serves no purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, I think Chrono missed this part of the conversation, but I kind of said earlier, this feels like an American political show.
Drama.
Drama, yeah, where the wife is just all this types of busy, and the husband is either A, an arsehole, or B, progressive go girl type situation. And the daughter is non-existent, or not a character.
I didn't even know she had a daughter until that episode, and she's just a complete
I,
jerk to her mom.
I kind of heard that she's supposed to exist. I don't know if it's a book or a comic book or something like that. Like she has been mentioned before.
Huh. Well, I've never been one that got super into the outside lore of Star Wars as much as, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the outside lore. What I mean is I've not read as many books as some people, is what I'm trying to say.
But I mean, that actually
Yeah, go ahead.
brings up that brings up something that's also sort of been bothering me with Andor, is that it feels like I should have read something else or watched a previous show to understand 90% of what's going on. It feels like I needed to watch the Mon Mothma show to understand what frack's going on with Mon Mothma, and like who, what, how, what, huh? It feels like I needed to watch a show about the scavenger that raised Andor. It feels like I needed to watch all these other things to make any sense from what's happening in Andor.
I can sort of get that.
I think they're taking too long in very small parts of the story, and they're taking too little time to expand on the ones that would be interesting. Like for example, in the case of Mon Mothma, I mean, show me her political standing and show me her dealings with Luthen and all these underground people. Don't show me what her married life looks like. I don't care. It's not important to the context of the show, to what she is later in the story.
At least the way they're presenting it isn't important.
Yeah,
if they had presented it differently, it might be different.
In any case, I was telling I was telling this to a friend, because we were discussing that specific part, the way they portray her, and I was telling her, Mothma to me has never been a cool character. It's a character I know it's there, and I don't like her. And the more I saw her in Rebels, the less I like her, because I think she's a coward.
Mm-hmm.
And when they set her up, I was like, okay, I'm hopeful that they will show us something really terrible happening to her that makes her be so confident that she can't come. Because if that happens, that character
is Chrono going robot for everyone?
Yeah, a little.
For her to always be like,
Chrono, you may have to dial back a bit because you turned into a droid.
Sorry, should I repeat the idea?
Yeah, repeat the idea.
Yeah, you were very droid-like.
Yeah. Well, I was expecting silence. I was expecting non-droid-like chatter coming through, but no, we got nothing. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
He exists.
Something's wrong with the connection here, probably.
Oh, okay. Sounds
it sounds good now.
Yeah.
It must have been Disney trying to hack
where did I get cut off?
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
I would start from the beginning, because
the beginning of the idea would be the best way to go.
I was saying I always had a problem with Mon Mothma because I consider her a coward, given her actions in
Mhm.
Rebels and other appearances she has. And I would like for the show to at least tell me like what happened to her to make her be so extremely cautious that she comes off coward. Because if they do that, that would be interesting
Mm.
for her character. It would be like, oh, this happened, and now she's always second guessing every move, it would kind of make sense. But instead, they focus on her husband being a good for nothing man. So it's like uh, I don't need that from the show.
No, I agree with that.
I mean,
I
at
mean,
least if
because
you're going to play the not supportive husband angle, they should make it like something like the husband was supportive of the empire way, something like
Mhm.
that. Not
I
Sorry, say that again.
just some guy who's always whatever.
I agree. Be- I mean, the main thing for me on that was like, what progression to the story is this giving us? It's not giving us any story progression. It's just showing the day in the life of Mon Mothma, and they didn't give her a really glamorous life. Which, I mean, I guess you shouldn't really expect a glamorous life. It wouldn't feel realistic if everybody's life was glamorous, but I wouldn't have expected what we got, and I'm not exactly happy about what we got in that respect. And I mean, those moments
Yeah,
when they're uh, when they show the husband, those scenes are very pointless because they are not furthering the story or anything like that in any way. In this last episode, they showed the Senate. They show Mon Mothma in the Senate after the
yeah,
heist was pulled off, and I felt like scenes like that where she's in the Senate trying to do something, that's what will progress her story,
yeah,
not her sitting at a table with her husband and daughter arguing with each other. Because that, like right now, I mean, if you think about it, what kind of plot is Andor actually going for? I mean, yeah, we're getting a lot of development, which is making the show slow, but it doesn't feel like it has a main point to it. Like the first three episodes felt sort of separate from the next three. If you think about it, like you can look at those three episodes and think they may be from a different movie or a different show. The first three episodes were their own thing. The second three were their own thing. That's what it feels like. And I'm just thinking to myself as I watch it. I mean, not that I think it's bad. I don't think it's bad. I mean, if I'm going to say a show is bad, I'm going to look at the Book of Boba Fett and say that, because that show I legitimately have harsh feelings
Kenobi!
towards.
Kenobi! Sorry. I'll just my hay fever's playing up.
But anyways, I do hold some harsh feelings towards the Book of Boba Fett for various reasons, not just because of the death of one of my favorite characters, but it's just the way they handled the show. But this show in particular has, in my opinion, been handled better than that show. It looks better than that show, and
yeah,
it feels better than that show, but it's slow. That's what's killing me, and it's got some pointless things to it. And I honestly forgot the point I was trying to make with all this, but I'm going to continue on with it. Um, oh yeah, I remember now. So, but certain things in the show, like what I was mentioning, do not feel like they need to be here, and that particular thing with her husband and daughter being jerks to her, that right there, unless there was some sort of a like you said, Chrono, connection to the Empire, like they support the Empire while she doesn't. If they were showing that kind of dynamic, that would have made that exchange between them be more necessary, which we can still debate on whether it's still a necessary interaction that we needed to see for the show. But it would have felt more necessary than what we have gotten so far, because right now all we're seeing is jerky dad, jerky daughter, I mean, like father, like daughter, I guess, in that regard. And there's just too much of that. But they need to sort of stick with what we got in the last episode, where she's in the Senate doing her thing. We need to see more of her doing her thing. That's what she's there for. That's what she's known for, is being an
Actually, yeah,
activist in the
the
Senate.
show has yeah the had a problem with those things. Episode 5 was particularly because it felt like I don't know if any of you followed Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones did this thing in episode 9 or 8. They would always show like small clips of every character. Like this character is currently here doing this. They jump to the
Mm-hmm.
next character. This character is currently here doing this. And they go on,
Mm-hmm.
and since Game of Thrones had a lot of characters, those episodes felt like they were stitched from different scenes that made no sense to put together. But it was like, now, when the episode finishes, it's like, now you know where everyone is before the finale. And it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. You can totally tell that that was the intention, and it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
necessary because there are so many characters. But Andor doesn't have that many characters, and episode 5 was exactly like that. It's like, oh, we're going to tell you a little bit of this Sibyl guy. We're going to tell you a little bit about the rebels. We're going to tell you a little bit about Luthen, a little bit about Mon Mothma, and by the end, you had a little bit of everything and a very boring episode.
Yeah.
And I wish episode 5, instead of that, had focused exclusively on the rebels and Luthen. Because
Mm-hmm.
if they had done that, the episode would have been able to explore more important things of those characters and wouldn't have been boring.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree. Well, you got anything else to say about these episodes, or are we ready to move on?
I think should want so that you can give us your 2 cents on the whole thing.
Yay, my 2 cents. Okay. All right. I'm excited to get my 2 cents now. So, as far as these last 3 episodes have gone, I've given a little bit of my 2 cents. I've refrained a lot, though, because I didn't want to take anybody else's time. But now that I am allowed to speak, I said that really weird. I don't mean it like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean it like that, guys.
And you have our
I
permission.
value your
Yeah.
opinions. I truly value you guys. Don't take it that way. But really though, like now that it's my chance to speak, I've got quite a bit more I wanted to. Well, not quite a bit, but I got a few more things I want to talk about. I want to sort of circle back to what I was saying about how the episodes feel like they are different. Like the first 3 episodes felt connected, but they don't feel connected to the next 3. The only thing that's connecting them is the fact that
They have Andor titled at the front.
well, I mean, besides that, you see one character at the very beginning of this of that episode that showed up in the first 3 episodes, and then he leaves him and lets him do his thing. One thing that bugged me so much about the characters that we ended up getting to see in these next 3 episodes is that they were always down each other's throats, and they didn't feel like a team at all. Like they could have, I mean, it could have worked if they had sort of given a little more story to the characters, like why they are like this, but instead they don't. At least not that I remember. I know they tried to give like a scene where what was his name? I can't remember. The guy that held a knife to Cassian's throat. They tried to give him like that moment where like I'm doing this because I want revenge for my brother who died, and
Skin.
I think, yeah, that guy.
Skin. Yeah.
Yeah. So at first I thought we were getting something like that, but Spoiler alert, by the way. So you're about to get spoiled, the both of you. I hope you're okay with what I'm about to say.
We're
But
fine.
okay, all right. So you've been warned then. So that guy, that particular guy, he ends up actually, and I'll explain why I sort of find this a slightly genius move, though. At the same time, when I get talking about it more, but he's actually just in it to take the money for himself. He's
Oh,
not actually,
shock.
yeah. Well,
The way
they
he explains it is very cool, actually.
hmm?
The way he explains to Cassian when he reveals he's working for himself, the way he says it is very cool.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. The way they do this really, like, I'll explain why I like it so much. But the thing that they did mainly, well, I'm all over the place. Let me scale back before that so I can build up. Well, give me just a second. Somebody's at my door. I'll be right back. You can talk amongst yourselves for a second.
So Chrono, seen any good anime?
Yeah, I'm currently watching Witch for Mercury. I really love it.
Oh, okay.
Uh, haven't seen today's, but yeah, I'm a lot into Gundam, so whenever they come up with something, I will always watch it.
Oh God.
Um,
Of course, the minute Shade leaves, we've got a bot in the chat.
sorry, what?
There's a bot in the chat.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Lovely.
I will say it. Sort of. 6 Fine Pro, new AI dating disrupting an industry. Yeah, okay.
What did I just come back to?
Oh, the minute you left, a bot entered the chat,
Lord, what the heck?
and I can't. Well, no one can exactly. Yep, do that.
Yeah. I have that power.
Look,
Okay, anyway.
the ban hammer.
Yep, the band hammer. That's exactly what I have. And I will use it on any bots that show up. Where was I? By the way, I got food. That's what it was. I got food now. So
Congratulations.
yay. I won't be so hungry. So if you hear me tearing packaging like this, it's now an ASMR channel. Do you feel the tingles?
Damn it! I can't mute.
You can't see when you said you had all the power earlier. That was a lie. I, on the other hand,
The food is a lie.
the food is not a lie. I'm eating it right now, or I'm getting ready to. Before I start that, let me get back to where I was. So, oh yeah, I think I said something about how the episodes felt. No. I said that at first. No, what I I was trying to scale back to a previous point in that episode because we really haven't talked a whole lot about the sixth episode. Um, so I wanted to go ahead and mention that that guy is a traitor and was, only in it for the money itself and was going to end up betraying everybody. Well, the reason why I think the way they did that was genius, I'd have to scale way back and talk about how the episode from beginning to end, sort of, because you can see little hints of it, sort of foreshadowing. in the oh, why is there a second chrono here? Look, there's a second chrono. Two
Yay,
Ooh.
chrono.
more me. Ooh.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them. I'll, I'll, I had to make the reference. I had to. But you get to see little hints of his treachery, I guess, throughout the entirety of the last two episodes, or not the entirety, but from the entirety of this final episode so far, not final, but you know what I'm saying, the latest one, and then you get to see maybe a tiny bit of it in the one before it, and that's because like certain scenes, like where he's holding a knife to his throat, to Cassian's throat, he's willing to take out some of the competition because he believes that Cassian wasn't really there for them. He was also probably out there for the money as well, and he seen him as competition. In the final episode, when they finally start pulling off the heist, certain moments, like when I can't remember his name, but the guy that was a previous stormtrooper, he was the one that was teaching them how to be a stormtrooper, I guess. Um, he asked him to cover him, and then he ran out. So this guy does take a couple shots to cover him, but then he stops, and then the guy that went out got shot on the way to the ship. So there's one person out. Next person that gets killed is who was it that got killed next? There was like two of them. Oh yeah,
Yes, it was the nerdy guy.
You mean the kid that had like he ended up dying, unfortunately. He was actually the one character I liked the most. He was the one I liked the most out of all those characters. He felt like he actually had a heart for what he was doing.
Yeah, and a massive red shirt on.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming from the moment that I seen him. I just hoped it wasn't so.
No. The minute he was sort of like, "Oh, I'm writing down this stuff for to put into a book because freedom and such," and I've sort of gone, he's got a red shirt.
Yeah, he red flagged himself. Yeah, he did.
Just take off that shirt, put a red one on. We all know who's gonna die.
Yeah. So I knew it. And I hated it because I actually liked his character. He felt like what, I was expecting from a group of rebels. The only one that felt like he wanted to be there to do something right rather than be all uptight with everybody and hate each other, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, when it comes to those characters, the only ones that I liked was the traitor and the guy writing the manifesto. I can't remember their names for some reason.
The guy with the manifesto was Nemec.
Nemec, that's it.
Nemec, and the other one was Taramin. The black guy you were mentioning earlier, he's called Taramin. And
okay.
And the other one is Skin, the traitor.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, after see, the thing is, I hate how the kid died though, because they were finally out. They were escaping. He gets crushed in between two of the things that are carrying all the credits on it, which is super heavy because they're made of metal, of course. He gets crushed in between the two of them. And, I guess he bleeds internally. Like, I guess there's too much damage on his insides in order to, because it took him forever to get to a doctor. They couldn't really save him. But, so he died like that. And, I mean, I'm not doing a great job of describing it, but just imagine it, I guess.
Him bleeding internally. Oh, okay.
So, I would assume bleeding internally because there was no outer physical injuries that you can see, but he was paralyzed from like the waist down.
Talking about the imagine it quote.
Oh, okay. Well, Well, anyway, so the trader decides that he wants to act like he cares about the kid and say, "Hey, we need to get him to a doctor." And the reason for him wanting to do that was so he can make it easier for him to escape while they are getting him treated. So he was going to hijack the freighter thing that has all the credits on it while they were in there waiting to see if the kid makes it or not. But Andor's just still out there, and they just have this little conversation between each other, talking about how he knows he's not, in it for the cause. He knows that he's just here for money, so they can split it and go their separate ways. And that's when Cassian just right up there just shoots him without saying a word, really. Well, I mean, he does speak to him a little bit before that, but then, like, right on the last thing they said, I guess it struck a nerve or whatever with Cassian, and so he just pulls the gun out so fast, like if you blink, you miss it, and then shoots him. Then he comes inside saying he wants his cut and that he wants the ship that is in the barn thing or whatever. And the leader lady, I can't remember her name either. I didn't like her that much. She was always annoying.
Cinta.
Yes, that name. So she hands Cassian the manifesto. Cassian's like, I don't want it, and she's like, well, he wanted me to give it to you. So Cassian ends up accepting the manifesto, which I think is going to be foreshadowing him joining the rebellion, because he's going to start reading it and going to start seeing how this kid felt and be like, he was fighting for something he truly believed in. I'm not doing that. Now I want to. That's sort of what I'm getting out of it. That's why
Actually,
they
you know what I think the manifesto will have?
what?
Something about his sister.
Oh, you think so? I don't know.
It's far
That's
too
another.
cliche to not have it there.
But now that you mention his sister again, like, where were they going with that too? Like that's what caused this whole thing to happen.
I know. And that would have been a far better story for Andor than all of this.
True enough, because I completely forgot about the sister, and I guess that tells you something about how the show is going.
Yep.
Yeah, I think eventually there should come a point. It should all come to a point where we learn how he actually ends up with the rebellion. And I don't think this will happen right away after this heist. I mean, he's probably going to go his separate way and lay low for some time, or keep looking for his sister. And maybe things will develop in a way that he will become inevitably involved with the rebellion. And he will probably pick it up from there, because it doesn't seem like he cares enough to actually make it. Even despite what Luthen tells him, he doesn't really care about making a difference, right? At least not in this point.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I really like the way they presented him with the guy first, ask questions later, because that's
Mm-hmm.
always. I mean, we saw he was like that in Rogue One, and then we saw he was like that when the show began, and this is consistency. This is something that we have not been getting from a lot of Star Wars products lately, and in this case, we do. Uh, the
Yes,
guy's
character
the guy's
consistency.
ruthless. The guy's ruthless. We established that, and he continues to be ruthless.
Yep. Well, besides, the heist, like, they don't spend much time on the characters that they kill off. And earlier, I know I said that they were doing a lot of development, but they didn't do the right kind. They were developing everything but the characters, in my opinion, because I really didn't learn to feel sorry for anybody that died except for the kid. The kid was the only one they spent enough time on to actually give him some character and personality. The other ones seemed just grumpy and either just didn't like being there at all, or they had their ulterior motive, but we didn't really learn anything about it until it was like already there, which I guess that's why I like, the kid and the traitor so much because those two were the only ones that you got anything on. The other, what was it, three or four? There was like one, two, three. There was about three more. The other three, you get nothing on, and it's really weird. Like I don't understand why they didn't, build up their characters more.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that they didn't even bother building the women characters up. I mean, given how progressive they are and all, the two
Mm-hmm.
women in the group, they are like nobodies. We don't know nothing about them.
Especially the darker skinned one. I
Yeah,
don't know her name at all. She's barely spoken a word. You don't know anything about her.
the
The
only
only
thing we
thing
know
that,
is that she was in charge of cleaning him up and patching him, and that's it.
mm-hmm.
And we all know which
Yes.
bed she warmed up.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. We do know that.
They made a point to show that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
That's the only character development we got though with her character. That's literally it. And that's sad. I feel like we should have gotten more, but we didn't. I'm like Anakin. I want more, and I know I shouldn't, but really, we.
Wait. You want more?
I mean, if you want more, I'll give you more. It's just probably not the more you want. The clip actually worked right this time. That's why I haven't been playing so many clips lately because they don't seem to work right. But that one worked right this time. I'm happy. I hope it did. Anyways, it worked right on my screen. But anyways, so they pulled off the heist. The chase scene was pretty interesting. I liked a lot of the shots that they did, even though they didn't feel exactly like Star Wars. I liked seeing everything in a different way. I'm that kind of person that, you know, like for example, with the Millennium Falcon in Episode 7, the starting scene where they fly the Falcon, you see the Falcon doing things you never saw it do before. Not that they're unrealistic as far as, the ship's maneuverability and stuff like that. I mean, I guess it can be that maneuverable. I'm not sure about the how those freighters would actually be. But in the original trilogy, all you got were you got some scenes where they were spinning and but you can tell that they're models that have set ways that they can be moved. I liked being able to see the Millennium Falcon take like a really cool swing with the backside really getting really close to the screen and then, going in a different direction. It was a really cool shot. I'm the kind of person that likes to see those little, things that change slightly, giving it a little more, making it feel a little bit different, but, getting to see them do something really cool with it. And I know I'm using a sequel movie as an example, but I mean, there's not really that many examples I can make for the Millennium Falcon. So, and I mean, it is the one sequel movie that I do like. So, but I do. I am the kind of person that really likes to see things in a new light, as long as it works. And in my opinion, I felt like it worked. Like some of the scenes they did with it, I felt like it worked, even though it looked different than Star Wars, like the way it was shot and everything. I think in my opinion it works for what it is. But other than that, I mean, I ain't got much else to say about the show besides that. I mean, it looks beautiful. The show itself looks beautiful. It looks better than probably any of the other Star Wars shows that we've, gotten, except for The Mandalorian. I think it looked really good.
Actually, regarding that you just said, I did forget to mention something when I was talking about it. Uh,
Hmm.
we have been discussing about world building in all of these shows,
Hmm.
and I think the whole thing with Aldani and the planet they were in before, the junkyard planet, and the Cassian's original tribe, the people from Canary. I think this show, despite whatever shortcomings it has and the lack of attention it gets, this show has been doing a very good job in world building for Star Wars.
Agree. I can agree
the,
with that.
the whole thing with the eye in Aldani and this pilgrimage of these people and what we actually see when it happens and the sky turns to all these colors and the way it has some deep religious meaning for them and how the empire is mocking it because it's like, oh yeah, these people are so ignorant, they don't know a damn thing, they just see lights in the sky because they don't believe in anything, they're so empty inside. And the way it all plays out and and it kind of shows you that like this the rebellion might not exactly believe in the I thing, but it was in a way like that they shot out of that place among this storm of lights, out of the atmosphere and even with the ties behind them and all, it really felt like a groundbreaking moment for them as a group. Like this was the start of something. I
Mm-hmm.
really like how
Yep.
they played that. It really felt like the beginning of something big.
Mm-hmm. And I just hope that they continue on with that because, like, the way the show has been, like Soraya always said, it's been for him. It's been 5 episodes, and he's not really felt like anything's much going on. I'm hoping that since we're halfway through the show now, because I think it's like 12 episodes, right?
Yeah, 12.
We're halfway through the show, and I guess that also sort of speaks for how the show's doing. If it's really slow and a lot of people aren't super interested in it because of how slow it is, but we're halfway through
It's,
the show.
but I
I'm
mean,
a,
it's not so much the slowness. It's the fact that um we're 5 episodes in, and I don't think, well, maybe the sixth episode uh does start slotting everything in, but it's sort of like 5 episodes in, and it still feels so disconnected.
I agree. It does feel like
Yeah.
they're sort of disconnected, but I'm hoping that after this last episode that we got, that everything starts connecting, like you said, and that we actually start getting the story that they're wanting us to see. Because, like I mentioned earlier, it feels like the first 3 episodes and these 3 episodes feel disconnected only because like it just feels like it's just two different stories being told rather than one.
Yeah.
And I'm just wanting these next 6 episodes to really connect that because we
I would throw in a question for you. I mean, you have seen all 6 episodes like me. So,
yeah.
do you actually feel like Cassian Andor is the main character of this show?
Mm, at the moment, I feel like it's trying to pull a like you said, a Game of Thrones type of thing.
Yeah,
So
I asked the question because I don't feel like it. I mean, I don't mind his. I think his character is being correctly portrayed, but I don't think the show is exactly focused on him. And I don't say that as a bad thing. What I mean is, this show feels like it's about the rebellion, not about Andor.
let's see, I get that, and the reason,
So do I.
I mean, the reason I feel that way is like they, focus on. We can go back to the example that I think it was you, Soraya, that used this earlier. I think about the what was his name, the cop guy that went back to live with his mother. That was you, right?
Um,
That was you that mentioned that earlier. Or was that Chrono?
That was Chrono.
no, that
Oh,
was
that was
me.
Chrono. Okay, okay, never mind. I'm
Cyril.
sorry.
That his name is Cyril.
Yeah. See, I'm bad with names. I'm better with faces than I am with names. But no, we get like moments where they focus on specific characters like him, and the new Imperial officer lady. They're wanting to focus on her. They're wanting to focus on, or they did want to focus on Cassian's, I guess, adoptive mother. They also wanted to focus on the people that Cassian grew up with. So in a way, it really doesn't feel like Cassian is the main character of the show. He's just there. But I mean, we get to see more of Cassian than we do all those other characters, yes. But they're trying to tell a lot of stories. And don't get me wrong, I do appreciate the world building. Like, that is one major thing for me. Um, but don't forget the character building along with it. Because, like, they are correctly portraying Cassian's character. I mean, there's not like a whole lot they can change with his character. I don't believe. I mean, because they've already got a movie and showing how he dies and everything. There's not a whole lot you can do, knowing the end that's going to result, I guess. But the other characters, if they're going to, focus on a bunch of other characters, they really need to give them a little more story and not just give pointless moments like Mon Mothma's family, those pointless moments with her family. That we don't need that. We need stuff that actually builds the character and progresses the main story. It don't feel like it has a main story yet. It don't feel like Cassian's the main character. I'm going to say yet once again because then again things could change from this point on. We're only halfway through it anyways. Um, I'm just thinking like they will start focusing more on Cassian in the future, but I don't know how much. I mean, because I know we're going to get more flashbacks because like I mentioned in the last stream, we do see clone troopers in a, I would assume a flashback because this is probably beyond the point of the clone troopers and more of the stormtroopers at this point. Um, I mean, well, yeah, no, it is stormtroopers because the other guy was a former stormtrooper. That's what that. Okay, yeah. Um, so I think we're going to get flashbacks to that kind of stuff. We're going to get more story on Cassian's past, like how did he end up where he was in the first episode, um, stuff like that. So it may change. It may change, but as of right now, I think I hit my mic. Uh, as of right now, Cassian does not feel like the main focus of the show, like the title suggests. It's just like you said, Chrono, a story about the rebellion itself. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think I think episode 7 is going to feel like the beginning of a new arc, just like it happened with 4.
yeah,
I
exactly.
think we saw episodes 1 through 3, and it was like about this whole thing, and episodes 4 through 6 was about the heist. And now that the heist is done, I think we're going to move on to another small arc. Probably, given what we saw in the last one, this is probably going to show the what has been foreshadowed about this imperial woman, the one with the intelligence. She's probably going to be the next story arc for Andor, because the way the heist happened, it prompted the Empire to crack down on this insurgency, and now they're going to go all out. Uh, and someone in the comments was mentioning that there's some kind of massacre that is mentioned in, I don't know if it was in movies or books. It's like a really big deal in rebellion history that they wiped out an entire town or something like that because of
Hmm.
that, and they say they might be going for that.
That could be what that flashback for the clone troopers is, and
Yeah.
that would be very interesting. Actually, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I think it would be really interesting to see those kinds of moves from the empire, because right now we saw they exist, and we see them operating in these towns and these places, but we haven't seen them like this. We are told they are very oppressive, but we haven't seen it. And I mean, in the context of the show, we already saw it in movies and whatever, but in this show, we haven't seen the empire being the way we are used for them to be. And I would really love for that to happen, to have the show really show in detail how they go against the small guy, like they're nothing to them. I really want to see them.
Well, I agree with you, but I also think that it is kind of necessary for them to be shown like this, sort of lazy and not as like out there, cracking down on everything. I mean, yeah, they did crack down and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like that not only is the emperor very confident in his empire, but that also goes for all of the people that work in the empire. They're all just very overconfident, and they all think that, oh yeah, we've got this. Like nothing bad can happen to us. So they're
Yeah, we see
they
this. We see this
hmm
from episode 4. I mean, when Vader is trying to explain to Tarkin the danger of what just happened in the escape, and the other governor is there, like telling him, "Oh, you and your beliefs, this is nothing. We got it." And it's like,
hmm
no, you dumb shit. You can't just let people walk away with the plans to your station. I mean, are you dumb?
hmm and that's why I think that the reason we see the empire the way that we do in A New Hope and on is because of what happens in A New Hope. They never had anybody hit them that hard where it hurts. So I truly believe that because of what happened with episodes 4 through 6 or episode 4, that's why they've cracked down so much. And they really shouldn't be portrayed that way, or at least, I mean, they can be, but I feel like they shouldn't be portrayed as going on that hard on people before that. Because, well, I mean, of course they got to go a little hard on them and to make them look like the bad guys, of course, but they also need to be portrayed as overconfident and lazy, as if they have nothing to worry about, which is what the show is doing. And I sort of like how they're doing that, because it really does show that they're living the life of luxury because they believe that they are the ones in the right. They've won. The galaxy is under their control, and to have that shaken up, because I think that's what that scene at the end of the 6th episode was sort of, I guess, alluding to, because Mon Mothma's talking in the Senate, and then nobody listens to her, and everybody's like starting to make a fuss about something. She looks down at her data pad, and there's like news on it saying that the imperial payroll or whatever had been stolen, or it's talking about how the heist was successful, basically, and that somebody hit the empire pretty hard. So I think that's what it's alluding to, showing that something actually hit them. And now, as I guess we're going to see a retaliation, is
Yeah,
what I'm assuming.
this definitely was a turning point, because you even see that last scene with Luthen hearing about it from the customer, and
Mm-hmm.
the way he goes into the back room and he starts laughing maniacally, like he's laughing because he's both at the same time happy that the heist went on and it was executed properly, but he's also like in a semi madness state, like, what the hell did we just do? He knows the kind of storm is coming.
Yep. And I like how they're alluding to that kind of thing with that last episode. So it does get me somewhat interested in what they may be doing with the rest of the show. But I guess we won't know how interesting it'll be until the next episode comes out. Because if it's anything like the last 6 episodes, it's going to be like another story arc.
Yeah, yeah, I think this
Then
is when we will see this guy Cyril come in. Like, from the start I have seen that, like, this guy is going to eventually join the empire, and I
mm-hmm.
think that's what's going to happen.
Yep. And he's going to have a personal vendetta against Cassian, and
Yeah,
he's going to chase him down.
yeah, because
So,
he has
mm-hmm.
a motive. I mean, the Cassian was the reason he got fired
Mm-hmm.
and all,
Yep.
and yeah,
No, he was the reason he got fired.
well, yeah, he
Well,
was,
he's going to blame Cassian
but
though.
he won't see it that way.
Yeah, he don't look at it that way. He's going to blame Cassian for it because he felt like he was doing his duty, and he got persecuted for it because of this guy.
Actually,
So,
that was one thing that I think was missing from that storyline, is that the commander of that guy, there should have been a scene with the commander and that guy, and him just sort of going, "What did I tell you?"
Yeah.
I feel like that's true. I agree. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on it, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I will briefly go back to both of you and see what you guys think about what you just heard, and maybe what you think about it. All that stuff. So, sorry, away. You got anything you want to put in? Briefly.
No, not really.
Okay.
That's
funny.
no. I mean, it's
That was fast.
I would
I know,
I
right?
would just be repeating. I would just be repeating what I said earlier.
Well, okay, then we'll go to Commander Tano. Then, do you have anything you want to say?
Not really.
Well, dang people. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess you really need to watch it in order to, So I guess we'll save more discussion for the next episode of Star Wars Topics. So I guess we'll go ahead and end it here. As I eat this food that I'm eating, because I've been like trying to eat and talk at the same time without sounding like my mouth is full, which is not easy. By the way, maybe you guys can tell more than I can, though. I'm not sure. Anyways, before I make a fool of myself any more than I have, we're going to end this episode right here. So, if you liked it, leave a like, subscribe if you want. There's stuff in the description, like our Discord. There's a playlist for the Star Wars Topics episodes if you want to watch more. And when I say more, I mean... Yes, that kind of more. So if you want, there's links in the description for everything. Just check them out if you want. But yeah, that's going to be it. So we'll see you next time, and may the Force be with you always.